Well, I gotta keep going now. What the fuck, man? Leo wakes me up early the next day, telling me he had to settle some stuff with his dad at the shop. I don't get much of a chance to ask why or for how long before he's out the door yelling something about food in the fridge. I immediately fall back asleep, though, and when I open my eyes again, it's 2 hours later. A text from Leo half an hour ago tells me that he's still at the shop and will be back soon, he thinks. I swallow back down the lump of dread in my throat as I remember the text messages. I didn't want to confront him, not one bit, but I can't just let it sit. Something has to be said before I leave. I lay around for another 20 minutes before grabbing my phone to browse a bit. That's when I realized I hadn't charged it last night. My battery at just 25%. I groan and throw an arm over my eyes. One day left to do the project. I'm so far behind, though, that I'm not even feeling any anxiety about it at this point. Just resigned. I should have known better, really, that I wasn't going to get anything done while Leo was around. I stare at the wall for a while longer before I force myself to sit up. No use lying around. I might not be making my best project, but it didn't mean I couldn't do a few things to make it less terrible. Food momentarily crosses my mind, but I shrug it off. I've never been a breakfast person anyway. As soon as I leave the house, I notice things are a bit off. Firstly, it's dead quiet. Usually there's some kind of a drone, whether it's wind or a plane overhead. There's usually something. No sense of birds either, and those are always chirping in the morning. I stand at the doorway for a bit, feeling a vague sense of tension, electricity in the air. Something building. I shake my head, feeling dizzy. That dream last night had fucked me up in all kinds of ways, so it's not surprising that it's probably still messing with me. I'll be glad to be gone from this place tomorrow. Some rustling next door draws my attention. I see Kudzu carrying a set of clippers. I walk across his front yard. I open my mouth to say hi, but I hold back, feeling self-conscious. His brooding nature was a bit intimidating, and I don't know if he's the kind of person who expects a greeting or not. I'm not left to wonder long, though, because he spots me almost immediately and raises a hand. Morning. Oh, hey there. He grunts before setting his attention on a bush in front of him, sizing it up. I stand there awkwardly for a bit longer, wondering if that's the end of our exchange, but he speaks up again. Leo, take off. Nods his head to the empty driveway. Ah, yeah, earlier this morning. I walk down from the porch and walk over to the edge of Leo's lawn, so it doesn't feel like we're yelling at each other. Says something about having to take care of business with his dad. I see. He stops trimming and looks up at me before smiling. You can come on my lawn. It's not like I have an electric fence or anything. Looking down, I see I am towing the edge of his immaculate lawn on Leo's side, looking like a little kid. I blush before stepping over the crunch along the tan-colored gravel he had set out. It's weird how nice it all is, especially compared to the shitty trailer sitting in the middle of it all. If you had a abode-style house, the place would be southwest in perfection. Ooh, you're scared for this next part, huh? This looks really nice. Guess gardening is your hobby? Thanks. Kudzu snips the bush rather aggressively. I like it. It's what I do most of the day. Raccoon moves to the side of the bush, examining it. He's peaceful. He gives the bush another snip before resting a hand on his hip while he lets the clippers dangle on the other. And it keeps you in shape. Can't argue with that. Although he's skinny, his muscles showed through the fur on his arms. He's probably the most in-shape guy I've seen in Echo. I realize I'm staring and quickly snap my eyes back to his. He's already smirking. I worry he's about to point out that he caught me, but instead he gestures at my camera bag with his clippers. Gotta do something for your project? Ah, yeah. Need to get a bit more film before I leave tomorrow. The slender raccoon wipes his forehead with a forearm. Anything in particular? I think. Not really. Just old stuff to show the town's age. Kudzu sticks the clippers in the ground, looking up as he seems to think. I know a few things. You go to the old school? Yeah, I was headed there, actually. And then there's the ruins next to the lake. Yeah, I was gonna wait for Leo to drive me there later today. Other than that, there's an old rusted pump in the road, but I don't know if that's actually from Echo's earlier days. Oh, you'll see. Oh, God. You'll know it when things get bad enough. Ah, shit. Oh, boy. Couldn't hurt to look. Where is it exactly? Kudzu points over my shoulder, up the road. Down past Duke's house, right before the convenience store. It's kind of hidden back behind some brush, but I can take you there. Oh, if it's no trouble. It's fine. I got plenty of time to do this today. Alright, thanks. The suspense. Oh, Jesus. Stop this, I'm already on edge. Oh, jeez. I shift the bag on my shoulder and stand to the side as Kudzu tosses the clippers beside the bush and starts walking towards the road. I follow him quietly, again feeling awkward under his no-nonsense attitude. So you and Leo getting along? Yeah, we're having fun. My mind wanders back to the text messages and my stomach clenches. Good. He's been looking forward to this week for a long time now. Wouldn't shut up about it last week. I'm somewhat surprised that it's Kudzu filling the silence between us. Not that I mind. He's pretty damn good at it for such a somber guy. Yeah, that's Leo. He really misses our old pack. Or does he? Kudzu huffs a laugh. Wolves. I agree. Wolves. As we walk, I can smell the heavy musk coming from the raccoon, mingled with the scent neutralizer, evidence of a hard day's work. There's something special about hanging out with another musky creature. It makes you less self-conscious. So I know you hate Peyton, but don't you have to go back there for work? Back in the day, you had a job studying desert plants after college. Good times. That would probably put him in a few steps above most everyone else living in Echo, where high school diploma is a rare thing. I'm a clerk at the town hall, so no, I'm pretty much always here. Always. Do you have a car? Sold it after I came here. Wow, don't you have to get out to shop for food? Sometimes. I grow and fish for what I can, and the convenience store has a surprisingly good produce section. But otherwise, Leo gives me rides once in a while. Again, I'm curious about what exactly happened in Peyton. I'm going to be gone by tomorrow, and I don't find the question to be too intrusive, especially with all the information he's provided me so far. So, I don't want to be nosy. I let the statement hang for a moment, and Kudzu turns his head towards me. Then maybe you shouldn't ask. That stops me short, and I almost stop walking. I feel my face get warm, even under the heat of the sun. I glance over at the raccoon, but his expression isn't accusatory or angry. It's just as neutral as it always is. It makes me wonder if this is just the raccoon's way of speaking. I already know how blunt he can be. I decided to trust what little I know about him and press forward. No? I ask him with the same straight face. Well, you should always ask yourself if asking something is nosy is a good idea. No reason to do it if it's going to piss someone off needlessly. Before I can even consider, because he goes on. Now, considering what we were just talking about, I could probably guess what you were going to ask. I can feel the embarrassment returning. Yeah? But before I answer it, I have a question for you. Shrink a little more into myself. Yeah? Why do you care? This question definitely catches me by surprise, and at first, I wonder if this is just Kudzu's way of telling me to shut up. But again, after looking at his face, I decide to just tell him the truth. I clear my throat. Well, I like you. You're a cool guy. It comes out rather lamely, but it is the truth. He has a demeanor of not really giving a fuck about what others think of him. It's like Flynn, except Kudzu didn't seem like he was putting up a front at all. On top of that, he'd stepped in to stop a crowbar-wielding drug addict when he saw his friend in danger. Kudzu laughs, genuinely, and it's a bit startling. That's really the reason? I closed it again. Oh, yeah. Fair enough. And I like you too. Leo was mostly right about you. What did Leo say about me? A lot of things, but you can't expect the wolf as love-smitten as he to not exaggerate, can you? No, guess not. I step on a particularly large rock and nearly lose my balance. Before I can even stumble, though, Kudzu's grasping my arm tightly, stopping me from running into him. Oh, sorry, man. Thanks. The raccoon had damn fast reflexes. No problem. I start to walk again, but Kudzu doesn't move. I stop and glance at him, but he's looking up at the road, not me. I lost someone in Peyton. Oh, no. It takes me a moment to realize what he's talking about, but then I do. By a guy with a gun who didn't give a fuck. I swallow and don't say anything, looking down at the ground. Happened on the same street we lived on. Of course, I have no idea what to say, and wait for Kudzu to go on, but he doesn't. When I look up, I see that he's looking right at me. I swallow. Yeah, that would make me want to move too. Yeah, people. And there's less of them there. You have less of them here. I'm sorry. Kudzu just looks back at me. Why? I open my mouth before I can say anything. Kudzu smiles. Kidding. I let my breath out in relief and laugh a little. Should we keep going? I make as if to walk the road again, but Kudzu doesn't follow. When I look back, he nods at the brush on the side of the road. Right near. I wasn't expecting much, and I'm not disappointed as we come up to the pump. Mostly, it's just a rusted piece of metal sticking out of the ground. Kudzu seems a bit put off by how lame it is himself. Smaller than I remember it being. Something at least. Get a few shots out of it. I start unpacking the camera from the bag, a bit reluctant to do so for something so significant. How'd you find this thing anyway? I look towards the road, which is basically hidden by the dense brush in front of me. Needed to take a piss. I know my house is right there, but being outside is liberating. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go do that. He pauses. I could do it in front of the pump if you like, for effect. I force a laugh, wondering if this is the first time I've heard the raccoon make a joke. At least I hope it's a joke. My laughing turns to a groan, though, when I see the battery level. First my phone, now this. What's up? Kudzu asks from a bit deeper in the brush, facing away from me. My battery is low. I'm not going to have enough for the school. I'll have to go back and grab a spare. Well, why don't you finish the footage at the pump while I run back and grab you another battery? You sure? Oh yeah, it'll be faster. I've been in his house a few times. Where's it at? In the dock, on his computer. No, on his desk next to his computer. Alright, now I'll be back. And with that, Kudzu jogs off into the brush and back to the road. What a nice guy. Then in a minute, I feel like I have all the footage I can get out of the pump. I sigh and rub my face. Glad to at least be out of the sun, but annoyed that I've gotten some little footage of it. Oh my god, there's gonna be some shit. As I'm doing this, I hear what sounds like a gag behind me. I perk my ears and look back. I hear it again, but it's softer, more of a grunt this time. I'm almost positive that Kudzu didn't go that way, but I can't imagine who else it could be. Kudzu? I wonder if maybe the heat has gotten to him. I know how dangerous a heat stroke can be. Getting a little bit worried, I start moving further into the brush. Again, I hear it go, oh, goodness. Again, I hear a gag, and it's much louder this time. Man! Good, you alright? I start pushing deeper with a bit more urgency, and not 20 yards in, I come into a clearing. The ground is covered in dead grass, and the sun hits me again with vengeance. I blink furiously, eyes watering under the brightness of the clearing and the blazing red behind my eyelids. After a few seconds, I'm able to pry my eyes open. The first thing I notice is a peeling trailer to the right, pressed up into the trees. I have some vague memories of a trailer back here when I was a grumpy badger, where a grumpy badger used to live. Straight in front of me is the meadow. In the meadow is a dead tree, one with dried, gnarled branches that twist up into the sky. The tree itself would be eerie enough, but what's under it is what stopped me dead. It takes a moment to comprehend what I see. Oh, that actually works. It takes a moment to comprehend what I see. Hanging from the lowest branch is a ball. Oh no. My rooted to the spot in my mouth hanging open. Disgusting, my mind immediately goes to the camera. I don't know why. I should have fed a dead body to the whole class. Either I'd get an A for being edgy or I'd fail, and Show a fucking dead body. Probably expelled, actually. Logan Paul, that's all I'm gonna say. My stomach's starting to turn on. Dude, the guy was gagging. He might still be alive. Then it moves. It's a quick jerk. One of the skeleton's hands reaching up spasmically to the neck before slumping back down. My eyes fully adjusted to the sun. Now I recognize the color of the fur, the build of the skeleton-like body. It's Clint. I knew it. Someone said some shit like, he's not going to be a problem in a few minutes. On unsteady feet, I managed to stumble forward and reach out towards the ringtail, aiming to at least hold him up until I can shout Kudzu over to help. Somehow, though, he's able to spin and face me, his face an expression of mortified fury. His eyes are almost glowing, how bloodshot they are, and his twisted muzzle is covered in drool leaking down from his chin into his chest. Clint, get back, get back, leave. What? Clint, what the hell are you doing? Move forward when Clint lashes out with a foot, hitting me in the knee. That's when I see his toes are touching the ground, but at least barely. I stare in confusion and look at me, Clint's furious eyes. Fucking leave! Spit flies from his muzzle as I take a step back, completely at a loss for words. I don't. As well as eyes move from mine over the shoulder to the enraged expression melts. Eyes growing wider. So I turn around and my vision is filled with a mountain of brown fur. As I'm able to draw it and focus when I do, I realize that I'm actually looking at a bear. A huge one, even for a bear. Huge, naked, and carrying a long, thin branch. The bear stands in the direction I'd come from, grinning stupidly at me. Safely, I widen my stance, eyes looking left and right. What? All reason has seemingly left the land of Echo, and now my brain is left to try and put the pieces of this crazy place back together. I watch as a huge tongue sticks out from between his blubbered lips to lick them, sliding slimily between the gaps of missing teeth. Once he's done with that, he breaks out into a grin again, his black lips shimmering under the sun. Different cat. A weirdly high-pitched voice. Oh, it's high-pitched. I hate that part. I hate this about this game, is that they tell me how things sound after it's said. I mean, it just talked. The really high-pitched voice is about as startling as the size. It looked like a Clint who's still struggling to stand on his toes, clutching at the rope now. So hard finding a good switch back there, but now it's worth it for this 2 years. Squeak that comes out of my muzzle seems to perk the bear's stubby ears, and he licks his lips again as he eyes me up and down. I should keep going. Which time as the bear takes a step forward and starts sidestepping, preparing myself to make a run for it. The bear mimics my stance. My stomach drops as I see him take another step forward. I change my trajectory back away instead. Tommy doesn't follow me, just grins as he watches me move back into the brush. Then struggles on the end of his rope, twirling around lazily as he tries to get a foothold. I get one last look at the face as he spins around, and I'm struck by the expression. For a moment, I'm 9 years old again, running behind the building of the main street, probably from imagining foreign agents of some kind. I'm gonna hide behind a tree next to Clint's house, and I hear the screen door open, and for several minutes watch Clint breathing deeply into a rag. I'm too young to understand, but for some reason I know that it's not good. They meet eyes. His are wide and wild, confused and hurt, just like now. I stumble into the brush, finally feeling like I'm far enough away to turn and really make a run for it. Because it was standing next to the pump while I get back. Oh, fuck off! Holding a battery, I grab his arm and yank him towards the road. Come on. I'm under my breath before jogging down the road, because we're close behind, looking over his shoulder. It's not until we're at the edge of the road, turning down the main street, before I'm able to slow myself down and tell Kudzu what happened. Holy shit, that's Oh shit, that's not his voice. Oh shit, that's Brian. Who? I'm still panting, sweating heavily in the heat after a short jog down the street. Big ass bear that lives in the bush, right? He has a trailer in there. I don't know him. Did he move there after I left? I thought a badger lived in that trailer. I assume so. He was here when I got here. What the fuck was he doing? What the hell did I just see? I was still trying to process it. I don't have the answer. Can't say I'm surprised though. Are you serious? This is the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. Kudzu smirks. Well, I guess I would have had to been there, huh? I stare at him. Yeah, I guess. If what I know Brian, he's dumb and violent. Pretty sure he came here because he caused too much trouble in Peyton. It's Clint, that's the fucked up part. He's a fucking homophobe and he's doing that shit? I don't know much about Clint either. What I do know is that Brian is his dealer. Really? Well, really the entire town's dealer. It made sense that Clint would need one in Echo, considering he was banned for life from driving under getting like 3 DUIs. But I thought Jeremy did that. Carl told me that's where he gets his weed. Kudzu shrugs again. I assume Clint is using more than just marijuana. It's becoming clearly what kind of relationship Clint and the bear have. I shudder, just wishing that I hadn't had to witness it. I already feel bad for Clint, but now Kudzu holds the battery still in his hand. Wanna move to the school? Yeah, let's do that. Anything to get your fucking mind off of that shit, right? The next hour is pretty uneventful, though I do get enough footage to the point where I'm satisfied. There's a point where I notice Duke down the road. Stands there for a while watching us as I'm getting different angles of the school. It's annoying, but even though he's a complete fuck-up, he likes to pretend he's in control of things in Echo. Probably just promoted himself to sheriff or the town, of the town in his mind or something. Ignore him. I ignore him, though, and the next time I look up, he's gone. I turn my attention back to the project, finally able to calculate how much work I actually have left. Now most of my work is going to have to happen the night before the due date. I swallow, stomach churning at the thought. On the bright side, all the stress is pushing the memory of Clint being hanged and whipped out of my mind. Later on, I finally get another text from Leo, just before my phone dies, that he's heading back, finally. I managed to text back that I'm hungry and that we should meet at the diner. He agrees to it, and I invite Kudzu to come along, but he tells me he can't stand diner food, and that he was going to go fishing anyway. It's too bad, because I've really enjoyed the raccoon's company, and fishing sounds relaxing. I try to exchange numbers with the raccoon, but my screen dies the moment I turn it on. Kudzu takes my... fucking hell... Kudzu takes my number, though, and promises to text me. I'm feeling better walking to the diner, but then I remember what happened with Leo, what I might have to do. Should I bring it up now? I don't even know where it'll end up going. Could I even trust him again? He's not in the diner when I get there. I pick a booth towards the back, resting my head against the patchy cushions before unclosing my eyes. The week's gone by so fast. It feels like only yesterday that we actually got here. Thinking back, I remember worrying that everything was going to be awkward, that our past would catch up in the worst way possible. And it kind of did. We didn't fix or talk about anything. It gives me a jolt of realization and sadness. This whole time I'd been preoccupied with Leo, and Leo with me. Wasn't Leo the one that was all concerned about us not keeping the pack together? This send-off feels empty and pointless. It's really the last time I might get to hang out with some of them, mainly Jenna and TJ. And TJ had the most shit to air out. Did I fuck up by basically ignoring him the whole time? I feel a lump in my throat as I think about the hike I never went on with him. Sure, I'd figure things out with Leo, at least temporarily. Very temporarily, actually. Already things are in jeopardy again. But now it feels like things I should have talked about with the others have been buried further. Even though I haven't seen the others in a few days, I can feel their resentment, knowing that Leo and I got what we wanted. Or at least I thought I got what I wanted. Especially after leaving them to deal with the fallout of Flynn's meltdown. And now, because of that, it'll be harder to reach the root of the problem, harder to talk about it. And because of that, we probably never will. I glance at my dead phone, reminded of the complete lack of text from anyone other than Leo. I suppose this is life. Sometimes things are buried and never get talked about again. And in a way, I guess that's for the best. Sydney's death will die with us. It just sucks that we all carry it, but can't rely on each other for support. I take a deep breath, wondering how long it'll take me to process this whole trip. Or maybe my entire life up until this point. It's at this point that I notice Janice hasn't come up to take my order. That in itself is completely quiet. No old rockabilly coming over the staticky speakers. I look around wondering if maybe the place is closed. I remember a few businesses didn't lock their doors. Mostly because of negligent employees, because burglary is somewhat common here. I look through the plastic window in the swinging door to the kitchen past the counter and notice that the fluorescent lights are definitely on. In fact, it looks like I can see some movement from the shadows on the wall. I think about getting up and knocking on the door to let them know I'm here, but that's when the front doors push open. Leo comes in, the big grin on his face. There's the words. My stomach twists as he sweeps up to my side, and I can't help but jerk it away when he kisses at my cheek. He pulls back, frowning. Chase? I sigh, not able to meet his eyes. Leo, I need to talk to you about something. Immediately I can see the worry in his eyes. He steps back, watching me. What? Sit down. Why? Leo asks, but sits down anyway. First off, I have to tell him that I looked at his fucking phone, and that's bad enough. I looked at the right heart pounding. Otter, what is it?
No bites.
His voice is soft, but I can hear the slight tremble in it. Leo, I looked at your phone. What? I jump as Leo's hackles rise and he bares his teeth. It's not an angry reaction, more defensive, fearful. Leo, why the fuck would you do that? I shrink back, looking down as I listen to his breath and breathing picking up. I'm sorry, but you know what I saw. Fuck, man. Leo puts his face in his hands, which gives me an opportunity to look up. His ears are down, drooping towards the table. Why'd you do that? I wait while Leo continues to hide his face, his body rocking. Not now. Not now what? You can't do this to me now, not after... I didn't do anything. You're the one texting people that I don't give a fuck about them.
No.
His head snaps up then, and I can see his eyes glistening. I didn't say that. I just said you were busy. And what you said to TJ. Leo winces at that one, and he slumps back into his booth, his face dejected, desperate. Please, Jace, just try to understand. What? I let some anger in my voice, just wanting to know, Leo, that I'm not going to forgive him just because he's sad. I think he realizes that because his face changes, lips bared out of anger in this time. Yeah, I'm real fucking guilty, aren't I? Yeah, you are. This is the asshole that just ditches me, avoids me, won't talk to me. I don't say anything in response. And you wonder why I'm fucked up about this? You're the one that just walked out and left me. I was young. Yeah, you keep saying that like you're not young now. If you had actually dumped me, then maybe I wouldn't be this fucking messed up about it. The last sentence escalates to a scream, and I flatten back into the booth glaring up at him. He had never heard me before, but I'm not afraid he will now. I've endured plenty of his tantrums. You know how crazy this makes you look? Oh great, you too. I'm serious. This is fucking unacceptable. I'm drawing the line here. The snarling face turns up, and that's when I hear movement behind me. I turn to my seat and I see Janice striding out from behind the counter, the kitchen door swinging shut behind her. Janice? Lucifer flattens back down like he's forgotten all about our argument. Makes sense why. Something's wrong. Janice is acting strange all week, gradually looking more haggard and pissed off as time went on. Of course, I hadn't forgotten about what happened on the side of the road a few days back. But I'd been content with just assuming that it had been some kind of drug-fueled adventure of hers. Now I'm convinced that she's having a mental breakdown. Her fur is mussed up on every inch of her body. Her eyes are wild and wide, similar to how I'd seen Clint earlier. Blood is smeared across her apron. And the handle of a knife sticks out from her front pocket. Get the fuck out of there! Janice, are you okay? It is not a time for anything. Leo's half standing. I'm not sure if it's because he's afraid of her or afraid for her or of her. He doesn't say anything as she sidles up next to our booth. I slide a bit towards the inside. Under a wild gaze, I'm feeling a little trapped. Janice? Why all the shouting? A little impatient? Well, let me take your order and I'll get you settled. Are you okay? Are you cooking? Leo gazes at her apron. Yes, I'm cooking today. What can I make you? I get the unnerving feeling that she isn't even looking at us. Leo glances back at me and I respond with a bewildered look at my own. You know, I think we might... Nonsense. I've got everything fired up in the kitchen.
No.
Leo doesn't respond, just stares at the big coyote. Jenna smiles crookedly. Well, if you're not going to order something, then I'll just make your favorite. With that, she turns and starts waddling off, having not even acknowledged me. What the fuck? Reached in my pocket, thinking about calling an ambulance for the poor woman until I remember my dead phone. Whisper over to Leo. Should we leave? Maybe. Leo doesn't move, just stares after Janice. Like at the window and the sunlight-baked road. Have you noticed that something's off? Yeah, get the fuck out. Just get the fuck out of there. Janice? No shit. Not just her. The whole town. I think about mentioning the meadow with Clint and Brian, but I'm still trying to absorb that myself. Leo sits back, still looking back at the kitchen door where Janice disappeared. Honestly, people act so crazy around here. I don't even know if it's because of drugs or if they're actually crazy. As his nose twitch, I don't think she knows how to cook. Something smells funny in there. Look back out the window, wondering if I should bring up our argument again. It seems with Janice has totally thrown me off, and I'm reluctant to waste more energy on yelling. It has to be brought up again somehow. We can't just let this sit. But you're not here! Not here! Get the fuck out of this building! It's clear that's exactly what Leo wants, though, so I huff and stare out the window. This fucking town. I haven't been paying much attention to it in the past few days, being too infatuated with Leo. Sure, I'd seen some weird things, but it seems in my absence, everyone's gone to the fucking wacky shack. Look at Leo. I've been noticing any of this weird shit going on. Why are you still there? Leo sighs. Again, I never know what's weird or not here. I guess I've noticed a few things. I frown. Were you just hoping I wouldn't notice? Leo doesn't say anything. Instead, he just goes on staring at the kitchen. Yeah, let's go to Peyton and let me just get the fuck out of this place. He really just let me blindly move to this town when he knew everyone was going crazy. Looking out the window, I noticed a figure moving up the street, jogging. A feline. TJ? Is that Tej? Leo glances out the window. Looks like it. Not for a jog, of course. Wolf turns his attention back to the counter as Janice comes out, a messy, dribbling milkshake in her hand. Hey, Janice, what are you cooking back there? I glance at the crazy coyote. She wobbles over to us, staring at the milkshake with wide eyes. Oh, you know, meat. She killed the chef. She killed someone. Someone's dead. Leo lets out a hollow laugh. What kind of meat? I'll be honest with you, it's a bit tough and stringy. I lose interest in their conversation and instead look back out at TJ. I feel like something's off for sure. He's a ways away, but he looks kind of afraid. What if his hand reaches to a bat or something? Something's wrong. I let her on my breath and start to stand, set on getting out of here to see what's going on with him. But at that moment, a truck pulls into the parking lot right in front of our window. I find myself staring right at Duke. I also see something big in the back of his pickup, a brown furred head peeking over the roof. Oh, hell. Oh, no. Duke. Leo snaps his head over to look out the window. As the weasel gets out of the truck, I see something in his hand. A gun. Oh, God, everything's happening all at once. Oh, Jesus, I hate this shit. Language, Leo. He's bringing in a gun. Leo reaches across the table from me. Not while I'm here. Janice. But she's already striding over to the doors just as Duke pushes through them. Chase, get down. But Duke spots us immediately. I don't know what Duke's voice was. I told you to not fucking run away from me. He's out towards our table, but Janice, on her way towards the kitchen, intercepts him. Duke, is that a gun? I am not gonna have you barging in here would ruin the place. Ruin the peace? Was it ruin the peace or place? No, it's the peace. She sticks her bulky body in his way. Get the fuck out of a wow. We're about to make many choices. Well, bear in mind, I'm gonna need your help on all these goddamn choices. Language. As if Janice doesn't notice that there's a fucking gun being waved around on her face. I reach out and grab Leo's arm, trying to pull him down. Call the police, my phone's Leo slowly sits, then looks around. The only exit is at the front. We're trapped.
You don't think those buggers are behind all this? You've been seeing the hard round 2, haven't you?
I'm not concerned with that anymore. I've made things right.
What?
You're not fucking concerned that what's happened to our grandparents is happening to us?
I won't ask you to leave again.
The voice is threatening. From this angle, I can't see her hands, but I can tell she's reaching for something. The knife! The knife! The bitch has a knife! Oh my god.
Chase, get down.
His voice is bizarrely calm, but as he reaches over to me, I can feel him shake. He presses down on my shoulder as I am about to slide under the table. I see Janice move forward, then... That was a terrible, terrible gunshot sound. I cover my head and cower against the booth under the table. Leo shouts and yanks me up against this side, covering me with his arms. I hear him breathe heavily into my ear, and I stare wide-eyed from under the booth, only able to see the dirty beige wall opposite us. His breathing is all I can hear, otherwise it's silent. I hear Duke muttering something under his breath, followed by soft, paddling footsteps. A few seconds later, his legs came into view, and his feet turn in to face us. I see the gun dangling from his one hand before raising it slightly, pointing it at us! I close my eyes. How did this happen? Just seconds ago, Leo and I were arguing, and now we're gonna fucking die! Keep my eyes tightly closed, hugging to Leo as hard as I can, and wait, but nothing happens. Keep my face pressed into Leo's chest, though, wondering if I'm already dead. Finally, Duke speaks.
Leo, out. Otter, you stay here.
I feel Leo hesitate against me, and then his lips press against my ear. That bitch is bailing on us! That bitch is literally... It'll be okay, baby, just stay here.
Really? Really, bitch?
You just gonna scoot out? Oh! Fucker! So Leon takes my... What the fuck? He pushes it, what the fuck? No!
Face the wall.
Leo hesitates and Duke growls.
I ain't gonna fucking kill you. We're just figuring out what's happening. Is all killing you doesn't fix nothing.
Then what's the gun for?
Unless I got killed and that didn't fix shit.
What?
You shot Janice.
'Cause you got my fucking way. But it doesn't matter, everything's fucked up now.
He turns to face the wall slowly. What the fuck is going on? Out from the space between the table and the booth.
What do you want?
To fix this fucking town. You're starting something with this Otter. This has all happened before.
Duke looks out the window and makes a come on motion with his hand.
We're gonna stop it from happening this time.
He looks to the left.
But you just fucking killed Janice.
You hear the wolf's voice break slightly.
Won't matter in the long run.
What the fuck is happening? The door rattles and someone comes in.
You got the zip ties. Hands behind your back, Leo.
Leo looks at whatever just came in.
Come on.
No!
Slowly, Leo does as he's told, and I see a pair of massive paws reach forward to bind the wolf's wrists. I swallow hard as I watch Brian pull the zip tie tight. Duke puts a forearm to his nose.
Fuck, you stink. I hope you didn't kill that ringtail. We could use him.
Brian just grinned in response, his teeth yellow. My heart sinks as I think about Clint. Had he been warning me to run? Why had I thought that him hanging from the tree like that was probably just a normal thing for him in the bear? Was he a victim and whatever crazy has just hit the town? That must have been what's going on. Oh, this is hitting me all at once. It can't be a coincidence. Clint was probably just as scared as I am now.
Grab the Otter and tie him up too. Just stick him in your trailer for now.
God.
Not a trailer.
Yeah. My stomach drops. Duke gestures with his gun again.
Come on, out.
My legs are lead. I can't move. He looks over his shoulder at me, and the fear in his eyes scares me even more. His muzzle moves, mouthing something. Run. But still, I can't move. I've never been so scared in my life. It's like everything is numb. Brian doesn't care, though, and moves forward, looking on his face eager. Gun goes off again. Everyone, including Brian, jumps, and I hit the floor with my hands covering my head. Fuck! Fuck! Look up and I see Duke, eyes extra wild, dancing around, pointing the gun upwards at the ceiling. Fuck, did you see that? She's crawling. What? She's crawling up there. I told y'all she's on my ceiling every night watching me. Who's she? What the fuck? Holy shit. What? Brian's looking up too, and for the first time his face is twisted into an expression that isn't stupidly grinning. It's full of fear. When I look up, I see nothing. Chase! Leo hisses at me, and that jolts me back to reality. Oh, there goes Manny. Without even willing myself to do it, I shoot out from under the table. In front of me are two exits, the front doors and the kitchen door, which is closer. There has to be an exit in the kitchen, but I'm not sure of that. My legs are already making me run, though, and I have to choose now. Okay, y'all. I mean, y'all are saying that nice choice is getting out. And the front doors are further away. The kitchen door may or may not have an exit, but it's closer. I personally would choose the front doors, but I'm gonna wait for y'all. I want y'all's opinion on this shit, cause I don't. Help me. Alright, people are saying kitchen, so I'm gonna go with the kitchen. Y'all better not be fucking me right now. Kitchen door. Lock and load. I have no idea how long Duke will be distracted, so I dive behind the counter for my closest exit. Don't look back, Chase. Go as far as you can.
Shit, he's getting away, Brian!
Oh, we're in the kitchen. I push past the swinging door and immediately slip. God damn it! And when I was standing, and next I'm lying on the ground, face stinging from the smack to the tile. I stare blearily at the ground, forcing myself to move again, but it's still so slippery. At first I think the tiles are just red, but it's blood! Oh, Jesus. Blood is everywhere, now I'm covered in it. Stop wondering where the nightmare I'm in is gonna end, and where the paralysis will hit me.
Fuck, get off me!
What? Force myself to move because I need to get the fuck out of here, dream or not. I slip and slide along the tile, trying to stand, almost failing. I managed to grab the metal counter and yank myself up. And I'm standing over the counter, and over with the top of it, a pile of meat. I see the fur, and it's a amount of unrecognizable parts, butchered. Something cooks on the stove, my stomach churns and I heave, but there's nothing in me to come up. A bang behind me forces me to turn to my right, and I see a mountainous form of Brian charge through the door. He slips immediately, but his momentum still takes him forward, and he reaches out for me. Next thing I know, that's when I've been... Next thing I know is that I've been hit by a car, and I'm flying back. I stop short of hitting the ground thanks to the wall behind me, and my head explodes. Ah! Oh, God, guys. Guys. Should I go back? That does not seem like a good ending. Or at least a good turn of events. Let's just see how we get... If we are supposed to get caught, let's see how we get caught in the other one. So, I'm gonna go back. What, man? I love you too, now leave me alone! Alright, we're gonna try the other option. I have no idea if that kitchen has an exit, and there's no way I can risk it. Don't look back. Oh, he's saying the same thing. As I charge down the aisle, I almost trip over the large form of Janice. She's laying on her stomach, hands outstretched. A smear of red leads to the knife a few feet in front of her. I don't have time to dwell on it as I leap over her body, then charge through the doors. We got out! But we're gonna get caught. The bright sun and heat contrasts heavily with the cool dimness of the diner, but I don't have time to wait for my eyes to adjust. I take off down the road, and a few seconds later I hear the door smash as something larger and heavy comes right after me. I don't look back. I gasp and wheeze as I run up the road and turn onto Leo's Street. No one's around, and aside from the dull thumping of someone some distance behind me, it's completely silent. Something terrible has happened. Not just in the diner, the entire town. I'm not sure why I decided to run for Leo's house, but my mind is numb and reasoning is gone. Briefly, I think about kudzu. As I run past his yard, I don't see any sign of him, and I don't have time to try his door. I slam into Leo's door, pushing it open as I do. I slam it back shut and lock it with a deadbolt, then take off down the hall for Leo's room. I hear the doorknob turning back and forth as something heavy slams into it. I don't even know if Leo has a landline. I look left and right wildly, not spotting a single thing that might... Hey, telephone! Yeah, there's the gun! I reach Leo's room and shut the door, wishing it had a lock. Jumping in out of the outlet with my wall charger, I clumsily take my phone out of my pocket. It takes 3 tries to successfully jam the damn thing into my phone. Bouncing with terror, I watch as the screen lights up, giving me the battery charging symbol. Grab the fucking gun! Grab the gun! Not enough power for it to power on. Something shatters just down the hall, and I almost pissed myself. It's followed by silence. I don't dare to even to breathe, and then the house seems to shake as the berry almost about looking for me. I did down on my knees to the screen of my desk. Look at my phone again, but it's still at 0%. Grab the gun! I'm out of time. The door swings. Oh, what a crowd, and the bears bother me instantly. He rushes at me, and I let out an involuntary scream. I dive about on the desk, and as soon as he sits on top of me, I try to roll away. He's big, but slow as hell, and I manage to get on my feet. It's that moment that I remember Leo's gun. Just my eyes flick in that direction, he lunges at me and swings a huge fist at my face. Oh! I jerk back but he still clips my chin, sending me into a spin and the world into blackness. I stare at the floor, mind wandering in circles. There's heavy breathing above me, and I get to my hands and knees before something impacts my side. Ah! And something rolling into the wall. I stare at the ceiling, lungs broken as I writhe around for air. The rib obscures my vision, then reaches down to grab me by the shirt and yank me up. He stares at me, and I stare back before he swings me into the wall again. My vision goes dim. Is it again, then again? Oh my god! If I swing dim, finally turns to black. Oh my god! The darkness that surrounds me is painful. I feel like I'm floating in a black sea and nothing about it is comforting or peaceful. It's like a fitful doze when you have a really bad fever. It feels awful, and murky, and sick. I feel my head tilt back and a lightning bolt arcs through my head. I try to open my eyes, but they only manage to flutter, and I see flashes of red above me. Something is hooked under my back, and I'm dangling from it. I imagine a rope tied around me, holding me above the dark abyss below. Is this hell? I grit my teeth as the searing red becomes too much to look at, and I close my eyes again. This must be a nightmare, one that feels too real. I've had them before, and I know how to deal with them. Just need to go back to sleep, to drift off, and I'll wake back up in my bed, go back to sleep, and wake up in my dorm. Wait, an echo? I try to think, try to prod back through my memories. Where was I last? What was the last thing I remember doing? Trying to remember is monumental, more than I can handle, and fortunately, I drift back into unconsciousness. I'm pulled back into the sickly dark as something jolts my body. I grimace and gasp. I'm filled with such a feeling of unprovoked loneliness and despair that I actually feel my eyes watering and a sob escapes from my mouth. I hear a soft chuckle above me and I go quiet. I still don't know where I am or what's going on at all, but that laugh is enough to tell me that I don't want to be where I am. The feeling of hanging from a rope is gone now. Instead, I'm lying on something flat and hard, and my arms and legs are spread out. The air is cool now. My skin is cold and wet, like I've been sweating a lot. The feeling is especially strong along my back, and I want to roll over, but I can't. Something is holding my arms down. There's a rattling sound when I try to move. I moan and try to open my eyes again, though. It's almost like they're glued shut. With a little more effort, I managed to crack one open. That's a trailer. I recognize that fucking wall pattern. At first, all I see is a blur of colors above me, and I have to blink a few times to clear it. Slowly the image comes together and I'm able to make out that someone is there above me. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? Ooh. Ooh. I feel my blood run cold, realizing that someone has been watching me this whole time. But I'm lying down. How was someone on the ceiling? And it looks like it's an otter too. Are we dead? We're dead. We're dead. We're dead. Even if we're not dead, this is some shit. This is some shit, man. This is some real shit. I try to speak, but only a dry, crackling squeak comes out of my throat. At this point, my vision has cleared enough to make out an otter. An otter? I squint at a blue shirt, beige pants. I gasp and reflexively try to draw it back from this thing. Was it me? It smiles. How? The flat surface I'm lying on tilts precariously and my stomach lurches. I try to clutch at the surface there. There's nothing to grab onto. I shut my eyes and gag as I feel my stomach swirling around inside me. All I can do is pray for it to stop, feeling like everything around me is about to fall over. The ache in my head is magnified tenfold and tears start to leak from my eyes. Just when I think I'm about to slip off the face of the earth, the ground starts to tilt back the other way. I swallow and gasp for air, my entire body shaking and sweating all over again. I feel like I've been swimming too long and my body is exhausted. What the hell is going on? I remember that someone was staring down at me from the ceiling, and I opened my eyes again, fearful. I cringed as I see the same otter staring down at me, the otter that's clearly wearing the same clothes as I am, but now it's not smiling. A tear-shaped stain expression on its face. It's a mirror on the ceiling. I try to sit up and come to a short gagging as something tightens around my neck. I try to move my hands to whatever it is, but that doesn't work either. That same rattling sound I heard earlier makes me look towards my right hand and see that it makes my blood freeze. On my wrist is what looks like a leather strap. I desperately look at my other hand and find the same result. Looking at my feet, I see the same contraptions fixed to my ankles. When I try to lift one of my feet, I see metal glinting from underneath, making me think that the leather is bolted to the platform. Panic rises in my chest, and I kick my feet and try to flail my hands, but the straps hold firm in what looks like wooden planks. The platform that I'm lying on, they were arranged in a way to leave me spread eagle. Over the leather I can smell all kinds of musk, though the strongest one reminds me of Clint. I try to lift my head, but the thing around my throat is too tight and it instantly makes me choke again. My head throbs. Tears start to form in my eyes again as I try to think back. Where the fuck am I? Is this a prank of some kind? Maybe my friends are in the dorm trying to scare me. Had I been drinking at a party? Oh, wait, I'm an echo. It's the last place I remember being. For a project, and I had been with my old friends. I was with Leo. I'd been at the diner. Suddenly, all the horrible things that happened that day came rushing back. Janice, Clint, Brian, the gun. Oh my God. That really happened. I struggle a bit more to try to think. I had run to Leo's house. Leo, I don't know what happened to him. I left him with Duke. And then Brian, he chasing me, and he tried to break in. I start breathing heavily again as I realize where I might be. Riding out of the house where when I was in Leo's room, he attacked me. I look around. I'm in a small room. It looks like a living room of some kind. There's a couch to my right, and a wall with a clock on it to my left, ticking away. There's a window too, and along with the ticking, the wind blowing outside is the only other sound that I can hear. Looking down towards my legs, I can see what looks like a tiny kitchen with some cupboards and a countertop. Dishes and junk are piled high, and the laying at the counter makes it smell like cigarette smoke. Judging by the layout and the size of the place, it looks like I'm in a trailer home. A small amount of terror escapes my lips. I'm in Brian's house. I remember Cud telling me that he lived in one. Tears start leaking out of my eyes again, even though the crying is making my head throb all over again. All I can think about is what he was doing to Clint. No, I have to calm down. I don't want to attract any attention if he's actually nearby. After what happened at the diner, the cops have to be on their way, if they aren't already here. People in the diner all the time. Someone, one of my friends probably, would find it and call someone. I just have to wait until they find me. I swallow again, feeling my body break out into a cold sweat all over again. What is going on? They wanted something from us. I remember that at least. But what? Duke had been saying something about seeing things and that we might be responsible. I squeeze my eyes shut and shake my head, but then immediately stop when my head throbs from movement. None of this makes any sense at all. Am I still dreaming? At that moment, I hear a soft mumbling in the distance, through the thin walls of the trailer. I freeze and hold my breath. It's a little ways off, but I'm almost positive that it's Duke. The high, weaselly whine mixed with the occasional smoker's cough is unmistakable. It's coming closer and I can start to make out what he's saying.
Because we already fucked here. You think we can just let him go and it'll all be fine?
I don't know who he's talking to, but it sounds like a accompanying heavy, lumbering step gives me an idea.
If it's worth it, though, we can figure out what the fuck is going on.
It sounds like they're right up against the trailer now. I can hear them walking around it, towards a small door on the right side of the kitchen.
Leo ain't saying shit yet, but I think it might be the otter. He's been the one I seen last week.
The footsteps stop in front of the door, and I listen hard, my heart pounding in my chest.
Hope you haven't done anything to him. I didn't.
His voice is high, too.
I didn't.
Brian's uncharacteristically high-pitched voice sends a chill on my spine, my fur flaring down with it.
You bet your ass you haven't. If you do anything, if you're fucked up shit to him.
I stop breathing, staring at my terrified expression in the mirror.
What I'm saying is we still got a chance to get out of this. What we've done is bad enough, but we can get him to understand.
He stopped talking, and that's when I hear Brian's heavy, labored breathing. I'm not breathing at all. Worried that they might be able to hear it, even though they already know I'm here. I let it out with a gasp as the door suddenly swings open and Duke comes up the steps, looking around before spotting me.
Brian, you are one sick fuck.
I tense up as a massive shadow appears behind him, and it feels the entire trailer tips a bit as Brian makes his way up the same steps. Brian's presence is so imposing and frightening. I didn't even notice that Duke is now right next to me. I jump when he sets his hand on my left arm. I jerk my head to look at him wide-eyed.
Hey, calm down. I ain't gonna hurt you.
Brian chuckles, and Duke shoots him a look. He turns his attention back to me, softening his expression, at least as much as he can with a scraggly, drug-fucked face.
We just needs to get some information from you.
I open my mouth to speak, but all that comes out is a dry squeak. Brian chuckles again and makes his way to stand to my right. I cringe away from him, and the stench of old sweat as he grins down at me with his yellow teeth.
Brian, get some fucking water.
Brian looks at Duke with a strange face before turning back to the kitchen.
Hey, don't worry about him. I know this thing.
Duke taps one of the boards with a finger.
Looks bad. We just gotta hold you here for a bit.
Wow. 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 He's a fucking... Fuck you, Brian. Duke glares at him as Brian comes back from the kitchen with a ceramic mug. You're going... What the hell? Brian visibly bristles and his face loses any of the sick humor it once had. Duke clears his throat.
Things have been happening here, and we want to find out why.
What? Duke furrows his brows like a kid trying to figure out something difficult.
You see, people ain't right in the head here.
Oh shit! Duke seems to immediately read my thought process because he holds up his hands and shakes his head.
Yeah, I know. What we're doing ain't exactly right in the head either.
Brian gives his dumb chuckle again. I can't keep my face averted from him, partly because I really can't stand the smell.
But we're all a little fucked up here. Well, I'm talking about something else, like what you saw with Janice.
I shift a little as I'm reminded of what happened in the diner. Is she dead? Duke looks genuinely sad.
I don't know. And it's a damn shame. But you saw the way she came at me. That's the shit I'm talking about.
Look at the weasel's waistband and immediately see the handgun tucked into his pants there.
And I was hoping to stop it before any of this happened. But now...
everything's gone to shit. He has a high voice. I don't know what the fuck... Brian finishes for him and I can feel him move closer to the platform I'm lying on. Again, I avoid eye contact, not wanting to provoke him in any way.
Yep, and it's only gonna get worse.
Duke just looks at me like that's all the information that I need. I don't know what you're talking about. There's a twitch of irritation in Duke's face and I hold my breath. I mean, what's happening out there? Duke shakes his head.
What's happening everywhere? It wasn't just Janice that lost her mind.
Duke looks back at the window suddenly, his fur standing on end. I look too, but all I can see are leaves and branches, the late afternoon sun filtering through them. Duke's quiet for a while, before he starts speaking again without turning around.
It happened to my granddaddy, my daddy. Now it's happening to me.
I close my eyes, wondering if Duke is just as crazy as Janice was. If he does, I doubt he even has a clue what he's doing right now.
Dale's missing. Cynthia drove off into the desert.
Duke turns around and looks at me.
We saw your cat friend running down the street the way here, saying someone was after him.
TJ?
Thing is, we've all got something after us. Something bad. We won't let you leave when it starts.
What's after you? I flinch as Brian speaks just above me, leaning down towards my face. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Bullshit!
Flinch again as Duke's concerned demeanor immediately drops away.
Why do you think we came to get Leo and you?
He pauses like I should actually know the answer. I feel myself starting to panic again with these two crazy hillbillies looming over my body. I don't know what... Duke slaps me and I gasp in shock.
I saw you hanging around this fucking town before you even got here. Late at night, lurking around.
I'm still cringing from the slap and I keep my eyes closed as if not seeing any of this is gonna make it stop.
And then once all your friends got here, all hell breaks loose. You think that's a fucking coincidence?
It's quiet for a moment and all I can hear is the rush of blood in my ears. Is this really happening? I feel Duke touch my arm and I flinch in fear.
Hey,
the blurry shape of Duke dances in front of me.
I'm not saying you did it, or that you wanted it to happen.
I don't say anything because I still don't know what he's talking about, but I know I can't tell him that.
It's just that you gotta know something. Anything that we can stop this. So we can stop this.
Duke starts to pet my arm and I shiver. Brian is breathing heavily next to me and I glance at him. Shows that his expression is more interested now, almost eager. Duke still hasn't answered my question. It makes no sense that they'd go so far as to kidnap us. But why? Why didn't you just ask us? Why all of this? I lift my hands weakly, making the platform rattle. Duke's face darkens.
Because I've been asking Leo all week what the fuck you guys are doing, and he won't say shit.
Duke stops petting my arm and scratches behind his head.
And, someone told me that you would know.
I stare at him. Who?
Someone I know, and it makes sense. Something bad happens, and if you don't know how to fix it, it won't stop coming after you.
I shut my eyes and almost sobbed.
Says they know, and I thought it had to be Leo or you, considering what you've been seeing the past few weeks.
He pauses.
Or maybe one of your other friends.
My mind briefly flashes to TJ. I don't know what you're talking about. I wait for another slap, but it doesn't come. I open my eyes again, and Duke is looking back out the window.
We're kinda protecting you, too.
I stare at the back of his head.
Things are getting worse out there, and if we don't figure something out soon, we're all gonna die.
What an upbeat game.
Yeah, right? Duke's voice is dead and distant. Brian, though, touches my other arm, and I gasp, shrinking away. He's smirking down at me, looking at my stomach or crotch with something down there.
Brian, stop.
Duke is turning back around, looking over at me and the bear.
We're not getting anywhere right now, and I gotta get back to the wolf.
Even though Duke is the one that hit me, I'm terrified at the thought of being left alone with Brian. Duke sees my face.
Don't worry, Chase. Even though you're lying to us, I don't plan to let this pervert have his way with you.
Brian snorts.
Brian knows what'll happen if he does.
Duke gives Brian a cold, callous stare, and this time Brian doesn't give him a stupid grin back.
But you better hope your fuck buddy says something soon, 'cause if not, we might have to get mean.
Duke heads for the door, turning to look over his shoulder.
Just feed him, and make sure he doesn't escape. That's it.
And with that, Duke briskly disappears out the door. Golden flash of afternoon light lighting up the dim trailer. Brian and I listen to the weasel's soft, anxious footsteps recede into the distance. As soon as the sound is gone, Brian stands up. I turn my head in time to see him whirl around and smash his fist into a wall. I jump as much as I can in the restraints before he does it again, this time slamming both of his fists into the wall. Oh God, what the hell? He screams so loudly my ears immediately start ringing. I think he's talking to me, so I brace myself for what I'm sure is about to be the worst moment of my life. But he stalks right past me, not even looking at me. Instead, he strides up to the kitchen counter. Once there, he's picking up a dirty pan and raises it over his head before bringing it down to crash. A glass shatter before he does it again and again. Oh God, that's a lot of stuff. He throws the pan across the room and it crashes into the wall. Oh, whoa, holy shit. Who the hell is he talking about? Oh no. I stare at him, my eyes wide, and I watch him stamp his feet like a little kid. He slaps himself across the face twice. After that, he closes his hand into a fist and punches himself in the head repeatedly. It's with a force that would knock me out cold. It might be funny if I wasn't tied down to a contraption in a trailer belonging to Brian. Brian stumbles after what seems like the fifth blow and covers his face. His massive shoulders shake with sobs. He thinks he can do with me whatever the fuck he wants. Thinks he can boss me around. Brian whirls around and slams both of his fists into the counter several more times. The sound of shifting glass accompanying it. Oh, Jesus. His voice crescendos in pitch and volume before he finally slumps against the counter, head in his hands, and he starts crying again. I breathe as quietly as I can, not wanting to draw any attention to myself. What are you doing out there? I breathe as quietly as I can, not wanting to draw any attention to myself. He's going nuts. He's going crazy, go nuts. I'm not sleeping tonight. No, I mean, I gotta get up in 7 hours anyway.
Why are you still fucking streaming?
Because the day hasn't ended yet and I can't stop. And it's interesting. Suddenly his quaking shoulders freeze. Slowly he turns and with a sinking heart I realize he's looking right at me. The fur on his cheeks, already matted before, now flat and shiny with wet. Snot runs down his nose onto his upper lip. Then I see red dripping from his left fist. The fur on his right is matted with blood as well. He watches me for a while, then grins.
Am I funny to you?
I open my mouth, but nothing comes out. He suddenly strides right up to the end of my platform, staying between my... Oh, God! Oh, God, no! God, no! Do not do this! I feel numb, the fear taking up every fiber of my being. I feel nothing else.
You like seeing him make fun of me?
I try to speak again, but still nothing comes out. I swallow. My lips tremble and my voice shakes. I've never stuttered so hard in my life.
You know what I'd do to you if I could?
Brian sneers down at me, the wet fur on his cheeks bristling out. I'm not saying that! There's a huge hand on my... Oh, God damn!
Is he gonna take you bowling? Is that what that is?
Don't even right now. I cringe and whine. Please. Brian's grin only gets bigger when he rubs his...
Oh, good, you already know how to dig.
He leans forward from my face, moving his hand to clamp over my mouth.
Then I'd hang you for hours.
I stare at him, breathing hard through my nose, tears leaking outside my face. His hand slides down to my neck and starts to squeeze. He gagged both from the squeezing and from the reeking breath. He stared hard at me and I could feel his... He blinks and slowly pulls back. He watches me gasp and sob for a while before reaching down again. I turn my head away, letting out a moan of terror, but he doesn't grab my neck again. Instead, he prods and teases the fur, checking the skin on my neck.
You better not bruise that fucker, son.
His expression darkens again.
You fucking tell Duke about this.
Here's the fist and I cringe. I don't want to swear. I turn my head away, eyeing the raised fist. He holds it there a while, watching me. He seems to be calculating something, like he's wondering if he can get away with what he's about to do. And he seems to make up his mind.
Good.
With that, he slams his fist right down to the center of my torso, just below the ribs. My vision flashes, and I hear a rasping, droning wheeze, and I realize it's coming from my mouth. And it goes on until there's no air left in me. And I can't breathe in again. The vision goes black as I suffocate, writhing. My strains wanting to come through the little ball and disappear. It was like hours, days before I finally get a sip of air. Nothing case besides suck it in faster. That Brian is standing over me, and I'm somehow surprised that he's got a worried look on his face. He probably thinks he's killed me. Then my stomach starts to turn, and I lurch before I realize I'm about to puke. A gush of vomit fills my mouth, and I start to choke. Shit! Brian hurries to my side, and I'm giving a second heave mixed with a gag. He tips the platform over sideways. His huge paw pushes my face to the side. Look at the ground as I watch it all spills onto the ugly shag carpet. When I finish, Brian slowly tilts the table back up, looking at me with disgust. At this point, I'm too tired to cry. Instead, I lay there in a daze, occasionally hacking or coughing. Brian goes to the kitchen, rustling around for a while before returning with water and paper towels. He wipes my face and nose before tilting my head up to drink the water.
Where's the spit?
He holds the mug there, and I didn't tell I do as he says. And he gets down on his knees. I watch his head bob up and down as he busies himself with a mess on the floor, muttering about what Duke finding out. I'm too numb to really care right now, though. Right now, I'm starting to realize that I might not survive this. Ronnie calms down pretty quick after his tantrum. Once he cleans up the mess, he splays out on the couch and starts watching TV. Some kind of cartoon about a pink cat, and he actually laughs along with the juvenile jokes. While this goes on, I lay quietly against my platform, trying not to start crying again. My mind keeps wandering back to just hours ago. Everything seemed fine for the most part. Keep wishing I could go back to the beginning of this week. Thinking about that makes me sentimental. I'm longing to see Leo, DJ Carl, Jenna, and even Flynn again. Where are they all right now? Duke said things were bad out there. Are they all in the same sort of trouble? If that's the case, the cops should be here by now. Someone would have gotten the word out, wouldn't they? If people were murdering each other like what happened to Janice, there's no way that wouldn't be the case. Unless you're in the middle of nowhere. Brian lets out another explosive laugh, wiggling his feet in the armrest of the couch. Earlier he tried to feed me some dried cereal, but it was like cardboard in my mouth, and after only a handful I couldn't eat anymore. I'm just thankful that he's preoccupied with something else right now. There's a soft knock at the door, and Brian jumps, quickly changing the channel to golf before he gets up and lumbers onto the door. He pauses and rifles through some magazines on a small table next to the couch. He pulls out a handgun, looks cartoonishly small in his hands before making his way to the door. I quickly turn my head in the direction and watch Brian open the door crack. He chuckles.
Well, it's going to shit and you're still coming here for more, huh?
Brian pushes the door open a bit more, and I catch sight of a skinny, malnourished polecat. Clint is looking up at Brian, appearing even more disheveled than usual.
So, how are we doing?
Clint had stepped up onto the first step and looked into the trailer, immediately spotting me. He stares, the shock in his face almost comical. Brian turns to see what he's looking at, as if he'd forgotten that I was even there. He gives a start before shoving Clint back out the door.
Well, I'm full today. Alrighty, got someone taking your spot.
Clint's now out of my line of sight. I can hear him shuffling around in the dead vegetation.
Please, I really need something right now. We can do it outside.
A moment of silence as Brian seems to contemplate that.
No, I got some business to take care of. In the bar, maybe.
Clint starts to whine again. Brian swings the door shut with a bang.
Fucking dopehead.
Brian walks back into the room, looking down at me, then back to the TV.
Probably shouldn't let them see you, though.
And that was before sitting back down and switching the channel back to the cartoon. I stare up at my reflection. From here I can see that my eyes are bloodshot, the fur on my face matted. Dark spots on my shirt too, and distantly I wonder if Brian had broken ribs when he punched me. Then I remember that his hand had been bleeding when he did that. I feel strange right now. Numb. Kind of feels good after the whirlwind of emotions I had had earlier. I still haven't caught up on to everything that's happened since I was in that diner. Would I ever be able to? Would I have time if Brian planned to? A tinge of panic pierces through a fog of disassociation, and I clench my eyes shut, screwing at my face. I try not to start crying again. Brian snorts again at something on the TV. I open my eyes, and the distraught otter laying on the wooden torture contraption. Why is there a mirror on your ceiling? I surprised myself a little by asking the question. Apparently I really don't give a fuck at this point. I see Brian look over at me from my peripheral vision.
Hey, you really want to know?
I shrug the best I can, continuing to stare passively up at the ceiling. The movement sends electric tingles through my arms, which are completely numb at this point.
Well,
Brian shifts around on the couch as he tries to get a better look at me.
when I has my fun, I likes them to see what I'm doing.
I stare up at the mirror, my expression still blank.
I mean, it's not just about what I'm feeling. What they're feeling is important too.
Fear. That's what Brian likes.
Sure, I can choke you all I want, and cut you all I want, but when I do that, you're not thinking about what's actually happening.
Brian shifts into a sitting position, no more interested in our conversation than his cartoons. Realize now I've probably made a mistake.
Won't say.
Keep my face blank, staring at myself. I don't say anything. Brian gets up anyway and comes around to stand over me, above my head, blocking my view of the mirror. Its reeking stench fills my nostrils, but still I try not to give him the satisfaction of seeing how afraid I am starting to become. His massive hands reach around my head and start to fiddle with something I can't see. One quick motion, the strap comes back down over my neck and my eyes widen. I grit my teeth and try to press my head as hard as I can into the platform behind my head to lessen the strain. Not a lot of pressure, but it's enough to make me want to gag. Brian chuckles again.
Say, you're probably only thinking about how it's hard to breathe right now. Just trying to figure out how to make it stop. But...
Brian leans back, revealing a terror-stricken otter on the ceiling, his eyes bulging, teeth bared.
Now you see what's happening to you. Your brain telling you, yeah, this is really fucking happening.
The leather squeaks a little as he pulls it down tighter. I start to writhe at this point. I can see my tongue sticking out, my face a mask of horror.
You feel more, and that's what I like.
Brian comes back into my vision, his expression different. He's really searching my face now, like he's looking for something.
Maybe you like it too.
Finally, with a final squeak of the leather, Brian lets go, and I gasp hungrily for air. Brian pets my head while I cough and gasp for breath.
Not exaggerate. That wasn't nothing.
He moves away again and slumps back into the couch, pulling at his crotch.
Your buddy Clint gets way worse.
I choose not to stare at the choking otter on the ceiling and instead look out the window, feeling fresh tears roll down my face. I'm not sure if it's from the choking or the black hole in my chest. I watch the leaves rustling around in the wind, think about where the others are, why no one's come to help me. Finally, I turn my head back to the ceiling. The blank expression has returned. Brian continues to chuckle at his cartoons, and despite myself, I ask another question. You ever killed someone? For the first time, Brian ignores me. I don't say anything for the rest of the day. I stare into the darkness, the only faint source of light coming from the moonlit leaves through the window. It's been less than 24 hours since I've been kidnapped. It still makes no sense that someone hasn't found me. Is what Duke said about the town true? I wonder what Leo's doing right now, if what he's going through is just as bad. I doubt it is. At least Duke seemed slightly less unhinged. A soft, trembling sigh. My head still throbbing from the day's events. The thunderous snoring from Brian is literally shaking the platform I'm on, and though I drifted off a few times, I can't sleep. He's right next to me, his stained couch apparently doubling as his bed. I shift around on the contraption for what feels like the 100th time trying to get comfortable when I feel something. There's more give in my right arm than I remember. In fact, it's incredible loose. I pause, experimentally wiggle my arm around before easily pulling my hand out from the restraint. I freeze, disbelieving, not wanting to believe in case it isn't true somehow. Painfully, I crane my neck and look at my right arm. Though it's dark, I can see that my arm is clearly free. My elbow on the board, hand in the air. I swallow hard, listening to Brian's snores again to make sure he's actually asleep. I try to keep my breathing even, not wanting to make any more sound than I need to, but it's almost sobbing with relief at this point. I'm able to partially sit up and make short work of the left arm restraint. Fully sitting up now, I do away with the final 2 ankle restraints and slide off the table quietly. Brian is still snoring at full volume, and it covers up what little sound I make. I make my way over the messy floor. I find the steps and try not to stumble down them to open the door. Incredibly, there's no squeaking or rattling as I do, and before I know it, I'm outside in the cool air. I run through the woods and onto the road, sobbing with joy as I see Leo's house. The lights are on. I'm running towards it. And as I'm running toward it, I think I even see Carl's horns through the window. Run up the steps on the porch and bang on the door. Leo, Carl, I got out. Open the door. Oh, it's gonna get bad. Oh, there's not safety in this house. Try the handle on it open, swing it inward into the blackness. I stare, trying to comprehend. You really fell for that? I hear my own voice, but it isn't me that said it. It said it's higher pitched, like I'm hearing it from a video recording rather than my own throat. Then I'm sucked into the blackness and slammed back down onto a wooden platform. It was a dream. All at once I realized what happened, and my heart feels like it dropped through the platform. Of course, a dream. Back in the hot, stifling trailer, and it looks even darker than it did in my dream. I close my eyes and start to cry quietly. Feels like I've just found out that I'm locked up in a psycho's trailer all over again. I turn my head and look out the window above Brian, longing for some daylight, and I see two white eyes set against a black face staring back at me. I jump. The fuck? Am I still dreaming? I see two beige-colored ears above the head. Kudzu? I gasp again, quieter. I'm overcome with relief again, but the fear that I'm still dreaming is almost overpowering it. I lift my left hand as much as I can, but I'm not sure you can see it. I realize that none of the light from the window is falling on me. Kudzu moves to the side and back again, squinting clearly, trying to see inside. Thinking about making a noise, calling out his name, but I have no idea how deep of a sleeper Brian is. It's a fun cue. Brian gives a louder snore and rolls over. Kudzu seems to have heard it, his big ears perking before he ducks down. My heart hurts just losing sight of him, and I strain at my bonds. Brian seems to be waking up, though, mumbling something in his sleep.
No, you're dead.
Pulling my right arm again, in case my dream had been onto something, it doesn't budge. Brian's really starting to kick around now, his massive naked form rolling all over his stomach, rubbing his face into the pillow. He starts making a loud gasping sounds as he gets to his knees on the bed.
Back off.
He holds his hands up, snarling. You're dead, you're dead. I stare at him, almost forgetting about Kudzu. His eyes are open and they snap to me, his hands still out. Oh no. His face is etched with horror, eyes wide and white in the darkness. He backs up against the back of the couch as he continues to stare. I stare back at him, unsure of what he's going to do. After about 10 seconds, his expression starts to melt from horror to confusion. I continue to stare back, bracing for another explosion from him for whatever reason. His shoulders droop again, and he frowns at me.
Did you see her?
My mouth is dry, so I have to swallow a few times before I can answer. Who? Brian doesn't respond and starts to look around the trailer. I see Kudzu trying to poke his head up again. At this point, I've made up in my mind that I want to escape tonight. I'm not going to spend another minute with this maniac. Making a decision that could mean life or death, that so suddenly is terrifying and exhilarating. I don't give myself time to think about it. Brian. He doesn't answer, starting to give up and get up and look around. Brian, I have to go to the bathroom. Brian sighs as he flips on the light. Kudzu drops out of view again. Brian heaves a huge sigh before turning to the counter. He reaches for a pan and dumps out some murky water into the sink. I wrinkle my nose. He shrugs at me.
What does this do?
No, I have to use your toilet. My stomach's feeling really bad right now. Brian turns and really looks at me.
Like what, you got puke?
I shift on the platform. I think I have diarrhea. Brian pulls a look of extreme disgust, which is kind of funny for someone who apparently never showers.
Oh, come on.
He glares at me and like it's my fault that I might be sick. He looks around for a while and back down at the pan. The bear seems to quickly disregard that idea and sets it back down on the counter. He comes over next to me and starts to undo the restraints.
If you try anything...
No, I promise. I just really need to go. Brian grumbles and he starts to roughly undo my restraints. I take care not to look down at his crotch as it's pressed uncomfortably close to my face. As he pulls my right arm out, I gasp in shock and pain. It feels like a million needles are poking through it. Pushes my arm next as he pushes my arm next to my body. Wait, what? Fuck! Brian pauses as he watches me grimace in pain, and I worry he's getting off on it. At that moment, though, there's some rustling next to the window when I try to groan over it. Oh, fuck. Bear looks at me bewildered and annoyed. What? Now my dream seems even more ridiculous than he was so easily to run off. He's falling asleep. Just take it slower. Brian sighs even louder and gets to work on my left arm anyway. This time he didn't yank my arm out, though, and lets me slowly move it on my own. It's not nearly as bad as my right arm, which is still violently tingling. I have to grit my teeth as I move it to rest on my chest. Luckily, my legs are fine, and I'm able to move them easily after Brian takes them out. Makes me worried about what I'm going to try, since I'm not nearly as strong as I should be. Brian is clearly on guard, and he helps me sit up from the contraption, keeping his distance as he folds onto my arm. I sit there a moment, letting the circulation return back to my limbs as I try not to fall over from dizziness. Brian finally gives a growl of annoyance and pulls me off the wooden platform. I realize that this is the moment I have to make my move. There's nothing nearby for me to grab, so instead I swirl with everything I have and smash my fist up against the side of Brian's face. Oh shit, we're going. Something cracks in my hand and pain runs up my arm. I gasp and cringe as Brian grunts. Brian pauses and slowly brings his hand up to feel the side of his face. I guess I'd hoped I would be able to knock him out with one punch, but doing that as an honor to a bear, especially a bear like Brian, would have been quite the feat. Brian does seem stunned, though, and that's all I need to take in a huge breath and scream as loud as I can, "God damn!" Brian whirls on me, swinging his fist along with him. I duck immediately, covering my head with one arm, the other still locked in Brian's grasp. He only partially misses, his fist catching the top of my head and my arm. Oof! Knocks me to the ground, and I sit there in a daze. And I have long to collect myself because Brian is pulling a foot back to kick me. Shut up! I roll to the side and start trying to back away while I'm crouched, but Brian yanks me up by my arm and head jerking back with force. And I'm starting to wonder if Kunzu ended up leaving. Wouldn't that be some shit? If that is the case, then I'm definitely dead, because there's no way I'm going to break his grasp. I was thinking about this, the door bangs open. Brian is in the middle of drawing his fist back when it happens, and he freezes looking over at the door. No, there he is. There he is. There's a boy right there. Kunzu stands there, his eyes wide behind his black mask, chest heaving. He's scared, I can tell, but Brian's shock gives me the opening I was looking for. Reach it between his legs and grab his balls. Fucking yank! Weirdly enough, the first thought I have is about how fucking big it is. Really? Takes both of my hands to wrap around it fully, and when I do, I twist and yank on it as hard as I can. With all my fear and anger into the attack, snarling as I do. The scream that Brian lets out is so high-pitched that I feel like every glass in the trailer is going to explode. This attack is all I have left, so when his retaliation comes, I don't do anything to defend myself. Luckily, it's not a punch or a kick, but rather he grabs the fur on the back of my head along with my shirt and tries pulling me back. My face stretches back as I stubbornly hold on and just yank down even harder. Kunzu, you gonna do anything? His sack is stretched and distorted so badly it's barely even recognizable as balls. His screaming suddenly cuts off with a sound of a loud, deep, sickening smack. Immediately, Brian's body crumples onto me as he falls onto his hands and knees. It happens in a way that he's splayed over me, his face inches from mine. I have time to smell his gag-inducing breath before the sound happens again. This time I see Kudzu swinging something down hard from overhead onto Brian's head, Brian's head jolts. I watch his eyes lose their focus on me, and he slumps down. I turn my head sideways and come to rest on my body, crushing the air from my lungs. Kudzu was there immediately, pushed Brian's body aside to the point of being able to pull me out. He pulls me into a sitting position next to him. "Are you okay?" He's shaking, and I can hear his ragged breath in my ear. The contrast between being engulfed in Brian's stench to smelling Kudzu's shampooed fur and peppermint breath is striking. I can't speak, and instead I lean against Kudzu and wrap my arms around him as I sob. Kudzu holds me as he looks me over. "Can you walk?" I nod silently as I press my face into the fur on his shoulder. "Alright, come on, we can't stay here." He stands slowly, keeping me in an embrace as he guides me towards the door. I don't remember much about the walk back to Kudzu's house aside from the stilted flashes of dirt and sagebrush. It's dark and hot, and my shirt immediately starts to stink of my sweaty fur. My legs are so numb that I don't even know if I'm moving them right. Kudzu has to hold on to me the entire way so I don't fall over. Crickets chirp all around us, but every few minutes I hear shouting and screams in the distance. I try to look back over my shoulder to see if Brian is coming after us, but Kudzu grunts and tells me to keep watching my steps. Some circulation has returned to my legs, and I'm able to at least match Kudzu's stride over the uneven dirt road. It still feels like 1,000 needles stabbing up my feet and legs in waves of every step I take. I'm genuinely afraid that I'm going to wake up any second and find myself still stuck in Brian's trailer. None of this seems real. I'm still watching my feet on the ground, so I don't notice Kudzu's house until I almost kick the bottom step to his rusty trailer. The sight of a trailer is sending chills up my spine, even though Brian's trailer looks very different compared to Kudzu's. We stand in front of the door for a while as the raccoon fishes through his pockets for his keys. If he dropped them in Brian's trailer, swear to God. It's made extra difficult with me hanging on him. I can stand on my own if you got it. Oh, hi, Aaron.
Hi.
You quiet ass.
Yeah. Is the laundry open?
Not quite. I have 2 things in there. I'll switch them over in just a second.
Okay.
Kudzu whips out a small gold-colored key before sliding it into the lock. Once we're inside, Kudzu immediately kicks the door closed behind us before reaching back to turn the deadlock. Wow, look at this fucking trailer. Inside of Kudzu's trailer is the opposite of its exterior. It's brightly lit and tidy, nothing like Brian's place. It's a little cramped, as any trailer would be, but the furniture is arranged neatly and the kitchen is spotless. So everything looks way newer than the trailer is on the outside. I imagine the raccoon did a lot of work to get it to look like this. Kudzu quickly guides me to a small love seat and makes it as if to lay me down. I put a hand against his chest, feeling my stomach turn. Wait, I think I'd rather sit up. "Do you need anything, food or a drink?" Kudzu's looking into my eyes with his dark browns, the brows above them furrowed in deep concern. I nod slowly so as to not upset my stomach again. "Just water, please." "Sure." Kudzu quickly hurries off to the kitchen, and I slowly lean into the cushions behind me. I'm not tired at all, but I feel numb, and not just physically. My arms throb, and it feels like the leather straps are still bound against my wrists. It even feels like they're being pulled by an invisible force. Like if I'm relaxed, my arms would float back up into that fixed position. I shudder, hugging my body, and then look around, trying to find something else to focus on. A grouping of 3 picture frames and a small side table next to the love seat catches my attention. Where I was sitting, I could see Kudzu in one of them, beaming at the camera. It's actually kind of weird to see him smiling like that. There's an arm around his neck, and I start to lean over to see who it is. Here. Kudzu appears in front of me again, holding out a glass of water. I straighten back up against the cushions. Once I take the glass, he holds out his other hand, and with 2 white pills resting on the black pad of his palm. Acetaminophen, if you're in pain. I definitely am, so I take it in the glass without a word and swallow it down. For a second, my stomach sours, and I feel like it's going to come back up, but only for a second. Kudzu steps back and watches me. Even though his face maintains its stoic, almost glare, I see his hands fidgeting together in front of his stomach. I nod weakly at a recliner across from me. You wanna sit or something? Kazu seems to consider, then walks over to the recliner. He sits on the very edge of the cushion, back rigid, continuing to stare at me. I take another sip of water, less this time, so as not to upset my stomach. It looks like he wants to say something, but keeps silent, lips pressed together. Kazu watches me the whole time. What's wrong? Kazu opens his mouth and closes it, thinking before opening it again. Are you okay? Yeah, sort of. I'm not gonna die, I think. Not really sure if I am completely okay. Everything still feels numb. My thoughts feel sluggish too, and something that's been nagging at the back of my mind since I got here suddenly bubbles up to the surface. Did you call the police? I absentmindedly reach for my phone in my pocket, but it's not there. I have no idea where it is at this point. Still at Leo's house. There's a tight look of consternation. $1 million word right there. Kazu's face. Phones aren't working.
Washer's open.
Even my landline isn't working. My foggy brain tries to process this. What? Why, did phone lines break or something? Kazu shake his head. I don't know. Should we walk to my car or something to drive to Peyton? Look back out the pitch black window. We need to tell someone right now. Janice and Leo's still out there. There's no way Janice hasn't been found by now. There should be police everywhere. Where are the cops? I turn back to Kazu, feeling sick again. Kazu didn't say anything, and he's got a strange look on his face, like he's trying to figure out how to tell me something. Finally, he stands up. I'll figure something out. Listen, I think you need to get some rest. I frown. But we need to get someone out here. What if Brian comes after me? I shrink it on myself at the thought, feeling goosebumps erupt over my arms. As he steps close to me and awkwardly reaches out to put a hand on my shoulder. You'll be fine. Do you want to lay down in my bed? I don't say anything. My head's still trying to catch up. It's a waterbed. Kazu adds, as if making that offer was more tempting. He thinks, You hungry? I have some muffins. You got fucking muffins! It might help you get back to sleep. I shake my head. No, I want to get the fuck out of here. Loud pop makes me jump and I stand up. I'm not sure what I'm about to do, but Kazu reaches out and gently hold on to me before pulling me away from the window. Faintly, I hear someone shouting outside, but it's far away. Was that someone shooting? I look at Kazu, starting to feel desperate. He puts an arm around me, at the same time moving towards the end of the trailer where a big bed is tucked in. I don't know. A lot of things are happening right now, so I think we need to stay here and be safe. What the fuck is with this stay here and hope it gets better mentality? The same thing was happening at the diner. We were all like, get the fuck out, get the fuck out. Same thing here. We need to get the fuck out, but no, we're gonna sit here and wait till they get us. I hold on to the raccoon, unsure what to do. Listen, he holds me by both arms and I look back at him. You gotta trust me that we can't leave right now. I'll explain it all after you get rested for a bit. What? He pauses. I can tell you you're not really here right now. What? Here right now? You'll feel better once you wake up, alright? Thoughts of laying down, attempting, despite the what the fuck feeling like I'm going insane. What the fuck? If I sleep, like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't have to think, just blink my head and rest. My head is buzzing and I feel like, what the fuck? Laying down might straighten things out. No, it won't. Gently but firmly forcing me to sit down on the bed. Despite his slender build, I can feel the strength in his lean muscles. What about Brian and Duke? Because they're slowly pushing me back down on the bed and the water underneath and the surface sloshing faintly. I haven't been on an actual waterbed in years. Carl used to have one. Where's Carl? Where's everyone? want to go back to the motel and find my friends again, but Kazu seems adamant on keeping me here. I got Leo's gun, so on the ground when I went to check on you guys. You must be able to tell from the look of my face that I am not at ease, because he reaches out again and rests a hand on my chest. It's still awkward, but it's comforting, at least. I'll be here all night. Nothing's gonna happen. That does make me feel better. At least well enough. Maybe get some sleep. Okay. I stare at the ceiling as I lay back. I still feel numb, but in a way that helps me blame the mind. It feels like less than a minute I pass out. What? Okay, this is clearly a dream. We haven't gotten the day transition yet, so we go. Where are you going? I feel like if I keep walking along the train tracks, I'll be able to find my way out of here. I make sure to walk in the middle, using the planks as stepping stones. Steel rails on either side of me feel like some sort of barrier, a protection to whatever it is that's out there. I feel a presence in front of me, though, a sort of pressure that builds as I continue to walk. Looking up, I can see that it's coming from that weird grove of trees that bunches up around the train yard. Something is crouched in front of that grove, staring at me from the trees. I keep walking, though, because for some reason I don't feel like I have anything to worry about as long as I stay on the tracks. I know something else behind the hunched figure. A few bulky objects hang from the trees. I know what they are before I can make them out. I keep staring at them as I draw closer, ignoring the thing that's watching me as I do, hearing it breathe as I pass out. As I pass it! Now I can see there are several bodies hanging from the trees. They're all of all shapes and species. Some hang by their necks, others by a wrist or an ankle. One of them passes me within a few feet, and I notice that it doesn't have legs, both of them caught off at the thigh. It's a wolf, and he dangles by one of the stumps. Blood stains his dusty, cream-colored pants and shirt all the way up to his face. As I pass him, he slowly turns on the rope, as if he's following my progress. I look down at the corpse's face, the mouth hanging open, eyes wide. I hate that expression. That expression scares the shit out of me. It's like he wants to tell me something important. I feel my body again. It's numb and heavy. So fuck! Bye, everyone! Yay! I wanna die! I wanna die! I wanna die!